There is a quiet island wisdom that the modern world has overlooked. In the rush for more food, more success, more noise, more speed, we have ignored a simple formula that has been practiced for generations in the villages of Okinawa. It is not a miracle pill. It is not an expensive program. It is not a secret locked inside laboratories. It is a way of living so balanced, so disciplined, and so deeply human that it seems almost too simple for our complicated minds to accept. Yet this formula has allowed countless elders in Okinawa to live long, vibrant lives, often reaching 100 years with clarity, strength, and purpose. The Japanese longevity formula begins with restraint. In Okinawa, people follow the principle of Hara Hachi Bu, which means eating until you are about 80% full. Imagine the power in that small pause. Imagine the discipline it takes to stop before indulgence takes over. In a world where excess is celebrated and second servings are normal, stopping at 80% feels like rebellion. But that gentle restraint protects the body from overload, from inflammation, from the slow damage caused by constant overeating. It teaches the mind that satisfaction does not require fullness. It trains the spirit to be content without excess. Longevity in Japan is not built on punishment. It is built on rhythm. The elders wake early, move gently, eat simply, and connect deeply. Their meals are not rushed. They sit together. They chew slowly. They honor the food. Most of what they eat comes from the earth vegetables, sweet potatoes, tofu, seaweed, small portions of fish. The meals are colorful but modest. There is no obsession with counting calories. There is awareness. There is gratitude. There is balance. The Western world often searches for longevity in technology. We invent supplements, test extreme diets, and chase complicated health trends. But the Japanese formula is rooted in consistency. It is the quiet repetition of small, healthy choices over decades. It is walking instead of driving when possible. It is gardening under the sun. It is cooking at home rather than living on processed convenience. It is the understanding that the body thrives on simplicity. Another pillar of this longevity formula is purpose. In Japan, there is a concept called ikigai, the reason you wake up in the morning. It is not necessarily grand ambition. It may be tending a garden, teaching a craft, caring for grandchildren, or serving the community. Purpose gives direction to the years. It gives elders a reason to keep moving, keep contributing, keep growing. Without purpose, long life becomes empty. With purpose, every additional year becomes meaningful. Community is another powerful force. In Okinawan villages, elders do not live isolated lives. They belong to tight social circles, often lifelong groups that support one another emotionally and practically. Laughter is common. Conversations are frequent. There is a sense of belonging that protects against loneliness, which is one of the silent killers of modern society. Studies around the world confirm that social connection reduces stress hormones, strengthens immunity, and protects mental clarity. The Japanese longevity formula recognizes that health is not only physical, it is deeply social. Stress management is subtle but essential. The Japanese lifestyle encourages calmness. There is beauty in routine. There is appreciation for small pleasure as a cup of tea, the changing seasons, the quiet moment before sunset. Instead of chasing constant stimulation, there is space for stillness. Chronic stress destroys the body slowly, increasing blood pressure, damaging the heart, weakening the immune system. The elders of Okinawa have learned to release tension before it becomes poison. They do not eliminate hardship, but they face it with acceptance rather than panic. Movement in this formula is natural, not forced. There are no extreme workouts designed to punish the body. Instead, movement is woven into daily life. Squatting to tend plants, walking to neighbors' homes, stretching naturally while cleaning. The body stays active without strain. Muscles remain engaged. Joints remain flexible. The rhythm of daily activity maintains strength long into old age. Respect for aging itself is also part of the formula. In many modern societies, youth is worshipped and age is feared. But in Japan, elders are honored. There is even a national holiday dedicated to respecting the aged. When aging is respected, people do not resist it with shame. They embrace it with dignity. This emotional acceptance reduces internal conflict. It creates peace, and peace supports longevity. The Japanese longevity formula also values portion control beyond just food. It extends to lifestyle. There is moderation in work, moderation in possessions, moderation in ambition. The culture encourages craftsmanship and excellence, but not reckless burnout. Balance is seen as strength. When life is balanced, energy is preserved. When energy is preserved, the years expand. Scientific research supports many of these habits. Caloric moderation is linked to reduced oxidative stress and slower cellular aging. Diets rich in plant-based foods support heart health and reduce chronic disease. Strong social networks correlate with longer lifespan. Gentle, consistent physical activity protects mobility and cardiovascular health. What the elders practice intuitively, science now confirms. But why does the world ignore this formula? Because it is not dramatic. It does not promise instant transformation. It requires patience. It requires daily discipline. It requires saying no to excess in a culture that profits from overconsumption. Simplicity does not sell as loudly as complexity, yet simplicity endures. Imagine if we adopted even one element of this formula. Imagine stopping at 80% fullness. Imagine walking daily instead of sitting for hours. Imagine eating mostly plants. Imagine calling a friend instead of scrolling endlessly. Imagine waking each day with a clear sense of purpose. These small shifts could reshape not only lifespan but health span, the quality of years lived. The elders of Okinawa often remain active into their 90s. They do not simply survive, they thrive. They cook, laugh, dance, and contribute. Their longevity is not accidental. It is cultivated through decades of intentional living. They teach us that discipline does not need to be harsh. It can be gentle. It can be rooted in awareness rather than restriction. The Japanese longevity formula is also about mindset. There is humility in it. There is gratitude. Complaining is not a daily habit. Appreciation is. Gratitude lowers stress. It shifts focus from scarcity to abundance. When the mind is calm and grateful, the body follows. Food variety is another subtle aspect. Meals often include multiple small dishes, each offering different nutrients. This diversity supports gut health, which modern science now links to immunity, mood, and overall longevity. Fermented foods like miso and pickled vegetables nourish beneficial bacteria. Sea vegetables provide minerals. Sweet potatoes offer slow-burning energy. The overall pattern is balanced and nourishing without being excessive. Sleep also plays a role. The elders tend to follow natural light cycles. They rest adequately. They do not glorify sleep deprivation. Rest repairs cells. It restores mental clarity. Chronic lack of sleep accelerates aging, but adequate rest preserves vitality. The formula is not rigid. It adapts with age. Portions may change. Activities may shift, but the principles remain. Moderation, movement, connection, purpose, gratitude. These are timeless pillars that do not require wealth or advanced technology. They require awareness. In a world driven by speed, the Japanese longevity formula invites us to slow down. Slowing down is not laziness, it is precision. When you slow down while eating, you notice fullness sooner. When you slow down while walking, you appreciate your surroundings. When you slow down in conversation, you truly connect. Speed often disconnects us from our own bodies. Slowness reconnects. There is strength in restraint. There is power in simplicity. The world ignores this formula because it demands personal responsibility. No one can practice moderation for you. No one can build your community for you. No one can define your purpose for you. These are personal commitments made daily. Longevity is not just about adding years to life. It is about adding life to years. The Japanese elders demonstrate that vitality is not lost automatically with age. It is preserved through habits. It is protected through balance. It is strengthened through connection. The lesson is clear. You do not need to move to Okinawa to embrace this wisdom. You can practice 80% fullness at your next meal. You can take a walk today. You can reconnect with someone you care about. You can reflect on your purpose tonight. You can choose gratitude in this moment. The Japanese longevity formula is not loud. It does not scream for attention. It whispers through generations of healthy elders who live as proof. It is a quiet rebellion against excess. It is a calm resistance to stress. It is a disciplined embrace of enough. And perhaps the greatest truth it teaches is this: enough is powerful. Enough food, enough possessions, enough ambition, enough noise. When you understand enough, you free yourself from endless craving. When craving quiets, the body relaxes. When the body relaxes, healing begins. The world may continue chasing complicated answers, but the formula remains simple: eat mindfully, move naturally, connect deeply, live with purpose, rest adequately, practice gratitude, embrace moderation, honor aging. Repeat these principles daily, not for weeks, not for months, but for years. Longevity is not an accident. It is a lifestyle shaped by countless small choices. The Japanese longevity formula proves that discipline does not have to be extreme to be effective. It only has to be consistent. The question is not whether this formula works. Generations have proven that it does. The real question is whether we are willing to adopt it. Whether we are willing to step away from excess and step toward balance. Whether we are ready to redefine strength as moderation and redefine success as sustained vitality. The world may ignore this formula, but you do not have to. The wisdom of Okinawa waits patiently, as it always has, offering a simple path to a longer, healthier, more meaningful life. When people speak about longevity, they often speak in numbers. They talk about 80 years, 90 years, 100 years. They measure life the way they measure distance, as if survival alone were the victory. But in certain quiet corners of the world, especially in Okinawa, longevity has never been about numbers alone. It has been about clarity in the eyes of a 90-year-old woman who still tends her garden. It has been about the steady hands of a grandfather who still teaches his craft. It has been about laughter echoing through small homes where generations sit together. The Japanese longevity formula the world ignores is not about living forever. It is about living fully, calmly, and purposefully, for as long as breath remains in the body. In modern society, we are surrounded by noise. Advertisements promise miracle cures. Influencers sell complex routines. Doctors prescribe pills for conditions that were once rare but are now common. Obesity, heart disease, diabetes, anxieties have become normal. Yet in Okinawa, for decades, rates of chronic illness remained remarkably low. Centenarians were not unusual. They were neighbors. They were family. And when researchers traveled there to understand why, they did not find secret laboratories or futuristic medicine. They found discipline. They found simplicity. They found culture. One of the core principles practiced there is Hara Hachi Bu, the practice of eating until you are about 80% full. Think about that. Not stuffed, not heavy, not barely able to move, just satisfied, with a small margin of restraint. That small margin is powerful. It protects the body from excess calories, from spikes in blood sugar, from the stress of constant digestion. But more than that, it trains the mind. It teaches self-control at the most basic level of human desire: hunger. In many parts of the world, eating has become entertainment. It is distraction. It is comfort. We eat while watching screens, while driving, while working. We rarely pause long enough to notice when we are full. The Japanese longevity formula asks us to slow down, to taste, to chew, to be aware. When you eat slowly, your body has time to signal fullness. When you stop at 80%, you give your organs relief. Over decades, that relief accumulates into resilience. But food is only one layer. The deeper layer is moderation in all things. In Okinawa, meals are modest, but so are lifestyles. There is no obsession with massive houses, excessive possessions, or constant upgrades. Many elders live in simple homes surrounded by small gardens. They grow vegetables, they prepare their meals, they move naturally throughout the day. Their activity is not scheduled into one intense hour at a gym. It is woven into life. Bending, lifting, walking, squatting, these movements keep joints flexible and muscles engaged. Contrast this with modern life. Many people sit for 8 to 10 hours a day. They drive everywhere. They stare at screens late into the night. Then they attempt to compensate with extreme workouts that stress the body further. The Japanese formula suggests something different: gentle consistency instead of violent correction. Small movements repeated daily are more sustainable than occasional bursts of intensity. Another cornerstone of this longevity is diet composition. Traditional Okinawan meals are rich in vegetables, especially sweet potatoes, leafy greens, and bitter melon. Tofu provides plant-based protein. Seaweed offers minerals. Fish appears in small amounts. Meat is rare and usually used as flavor rather than the main feature. Portions are small, but variety is wide. This diversity nourishes the gut microbiome, which modern science now recognizes as essential to immunity and mental health.